So happy 4th of July weekend, 2023. And this is a video on what I'm working on right now. You're actually looking at a drawing from 2016. This is actually a bond paper layout. Let me apologize in advance for the autofocus. If anybody knows of a software fix so I can override the autofocus, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a C22 Pro HD Stream webcam, Logitech. If anybody knows how to override, preferably with something free or cheap, so that I can give you a little more visual variety. But I apologize also for the extreme close-up, but you do get to see the drawing up close. As I said, this is a drawing from 2016, a bond layout pencil. You might see the blue, maybe be able to see some of the blue pencil and graphite, and then I went over it with just a regular writing pen. And this is another similar piece of artwork. You might recognize the imagery. This is kind of based on classic team up with Ross Andrew and Neil Adams artwork. Megaton Man is the nuclear-powered character from one universe. The Human Meltdown is the nuclear-powered character from another universe, and they are meeting for the first time. This actually predates Megaton Man #1. And what I did was I blew this up. You're looking at a 11x17 photocopy, and I traced it to ink it on some vellum paper, which is this clear stuff you can see through. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to erase, and it scans pretty nicely. You can see the World Trade Center in the background, the Empire State Building, and this is actually the torch of the Statue of Liberty. Here's the Megatropolis Quartet. So this is this is a key image in this storyline that I'm working on. Let me show you the new stuff that I've been doing. I've only waited 8 years to draw that. This is some of the new stuff, and this is the new Megaton Man material. It's going to involve that image that we just saw. And here's Rubber Brother and Felicia. Actually, here's the first page. I'll probably do a splash page. Obviously, I'll do a cover. Here's the Statue of Liberty. Excuse me. Here's the Doom Defiers headquarters. This is the gantry cranes for the container ships in the port of New York and New Jersey, the Bay of New York. And in actual life, there's a lighthouse at this location in Bayonne, New Jersey. It's the Bayonne Country Club or golf course. And here's a shot of the map. I'll talk about all this world building stuff later, but obviously it's based on my 80s comic book series, Megaton Man, and my 90s comic book series, Bizarre Heroes. It's also a sequel to what I've been doing in a book that's about to be released called X Amount of Comics, the 1963 Winnells Annual. So it features all the characters that were in that storyline. These are the characters from Pictopia. These are some of the characters that are from my satire of 1963. Here's some more characters. There's the Cyclopster. the black bug, one of the favorites. Psychic squid. Helldiver, who's not based on anything. She's just a female assassin. Here's Quetzalcoatl, and here's Corporal Starstripe, and Dr. Ugg. He's one of the breakout characters. But this is a tiny little background shot. This is in their headquarters are going to be in Washington, D.C. on the Potomac, right across from the Pentagon. Here are the Doom Defiers, and that's Simon, Phloog, and Geneveive Brule. They are the children, they're cousins. They're the children. Simon is the son of the See-Through Girl, or the Earth Mother, and Megaton Man, and Geneveive is the daughter of Felicia, who's this character, and the Human Meltdown. So both of these characters they're related by their half siblings, which is the Earth Mother and the Human Meltdown. That's not enough backstory for you. There's a lot of setup. Here just to show you how insane I've gotten in recent years. Here's Ground Zero in Manhattan. Here's the Megatropolis Quartet headquarters. The Post-Pictopians are in Newark. The Doom Defiers are in Bayonne. The Navy Yard is in Brooklyn. That's going to be the future headquarters of another team. I've worked out all this stuff. Not that you care about it. These are originals on Bristol board. They're actually 12 by 17. So not all of my stuff is being traced on vellum for inking. Here's the really dead Angel of Death, X-Ray Boy, and so on. As I said, these two characters are going to be very important. Simon and Geneveive, they're cousins. They both have parents who are mega heroes. They do not have powers as yet, or fully manifested powers. This is another character, Falconhawk, and you can see the Bayonne Bridge in the background and the Doom Defiers headquarters. And this is the beach house, and these are the Megaton Mice. The Megaton Mice go all the way back to Megaton Man #2 in February of 1985. And I didn't do much with these, so I'm bringing these characters back. Kozmik Kat himself was a character that I hadn't really used very much. And he's playing a very important role. There's another shot of the Bayonne Bridge. So I've done a lot of figuring out of how this whole world interacts. Here are the mice. And I've got all kinds of timelines and family trees and histories. This is another example of working with a rough layout. This is actually a photocopy of something I'd started in my sketchbook. This dates from 2018. You can see. And I inked this also on vellum. You can see some of the detail. These were the team known as the Devengers. Colonel Turtle, the Lens, and the Angel of Death. And I decided that, a little bit of a retcon, I decided that what Devengers stands for is a shortening of Doomsday Revengers. So there was a period in their early career in the 40s and 50s when they were known as the Doomsday Revengers. And here's their slogan: if they doomsday us, we'll doomsday them right back. So they're a vestige of the Cold War, which is coming back these days, proud to say. Dr. Braindead is also another character from ancient Megaton Man history. He was in Megaton Man #9, and he literally he's only in 2 panels, and then he gets run over by a truck. But I brought him back, and he's actually a terribly important character now in the universe and the history from 1940 to 19 into the 1990s, which I've mapped out. You'll recognize the cosmic cue ball, which I am, the technical scientific name is the mutanium particle, and there's an entire history and storyline detailing Dr. Braindead and the cosmic cue ball or the mutanium particle. Let me show you a couple things that I'm working on now. Well, here's Dr. Winnie Wirtz. She's a new character appearing in the comics for the first time, but she's also terribly important to the history. This is actually a flashback, probably from around 1959 or 1960. She's been lost in the forbidden future thanks to this teleportation device that I call the dimensional doorway. It's the analog to the time turntable, which you might remember from the Megatropolis Quartet. She's also been a kind of a fluctuating superhero character, a mega hero character. Excuse me. She's kind of a combination of Hank Pym and Tony Stark. And I'll just leave it at that. Let me show you what I'm about to be inking in the coming week. Here are the Malleable family, and here's Felicia. She was a member of the Megatropolis Quartet, who originally appeared in the second issue of Megaton Man. She didn't even have a last name at that point. This is Rubber Brother, and this is Geneveive, the daughter of the Human Meltdown, and Felicia. The Human Meltdown is out of the picture domestically. I've got a whole storyline, soap opera about his decline and fall, but Felicia and Jasper, Rubber Brother, hit it off, and they form a domestic partnership, as well as they're on the executive committee of the Doom Defiers. Here's Chuck, the Human Meltdown. He's packing up and leaving. These are some of my pencils. Here's Rubber Brother and Chuck having a little confrontation. And in the original Megaton Man comics, the Human Meltdown is just one of the members of the quartet, and he doesn't have much characterization. I kind of wrote him out of the storyline, but I've asked myself what he's been up to, and he's got a lot of stuff going on, and he's somewhat of a darker character now. These are some of the blue pencils. Here's Chuck Roast, the Human Meltdown, and Jasper Johnson, the Rubber Brother. Here's Felicia, or no, I'm sorry, this is Geneveive. I have trouble drawing kids, so I'm going to be the first to admit that. Here's Simon. Here's the family splitting up. She was raised in France, so she uses a lot of French expressions to causer trop de douleur. I don't know about the pronunciation exactly. Abandon, va-t'en maintenant, leave. Nobody wants you, Dad. She's had it with the old man. These are some of the pages I'm still working on. These are the beginnings of rough layouts, and you can see my pencils, the blue pencil stage. This is very rough, and you can also see that I'm pretty much lettering empty panels. Let me just show you what I start with, and I start with something that looks like this. I do write a script. In fact, I have a lot of documents on my computer, extensive notes and backstory that goes way into detail, psychology, and the backstory of the characters. But what I print out is basically just the dialogue, very, very few instructions, some visual notes, but not too many. And I like to get the lettering out of the way. let me see, here's a blank panel. Here's some of my lettering. And I'm actually lettering with the old school Ames lettering guide and a T-square, which you heard fall on the floor just a few minutes ago. Here's a T-square. I'll show you a long shot of the table one of these days to show you how this works, but you basically are sliding, you're using this middle row of lines to set up guidelines for your lettering. You can rotate the wheel to adjust the height of the lettering. And these are what I'm actually using to letter with these days. I used to use technical drawing pens, rapidographs, just going with the disposable Pentels right now. 3s for the thin line, 8 for the thicker line. So that's what all this stuff is. And I also use the 0.5s. There's not a lot of difference between the 0.5s and the 0.3s that I can tell. I'm also using, I'll show you what it's look like. So it looks like that. The bad part about this is that they are disposable. They do run out. Here's a 3. I'm also using microns. The PN, which is a flexible nib, which I'm using for a lot of my line work. If I can get it to focus. Can't get it to focus. But some of my outlining in my drawings are using that tool. So let me just where do they all go? Just any of this stuff, any of this thinner line freehand drawing. I'm using the PN, the micron tip. And what else can I show you right now? You may be wondering about my word balloons. Most of them are freehand. I'll demonstrate that in a later video. Sometimes with the tails, I use a French curve. This particular French curve just seems to match the flow of my wrist, the motion of my wrist. So you can see there's a few little bumps. There's probably some nicks in this French curve. Has nothing to do with the French language in the dialogue, but most of these are freehand, and I'll do a demonstration on lettering one of these days. If you see me at shows this summer, this is my book. Excuse me, you can buy only in person. Later in the year, I will offer mail order, but it'll probably be toward the holidays. This is the Victory, folks, my public domain supergroup. The material I'm working on is actually a sequel, so this is a kind of a prequel to that. X Amount of Comics is also kind of prequel to the new stuff that I'm working on. And I will talk more about all the great new plans I have for Megaton Man as he confronts the Human Meltdown. And he hasn't even appeared in the new stuff I'm drawing. He will be in an upcoming scene. I'm setting up all the secondary characters in all the situations right now. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a pleasant holiday weekend and a great summer 2023. See you on the road.